Hey you, so on this video, all silver stackers must have these things. I'm going to be speaking over practices that I think all silver stackers, specifically silver stackers, must have when it comes to silver stacking. So everything I'm going to be mentioning, of course, would apply to anything in life, and especially if you want to be successful at anything. But I'm going to be giving examples and, pull some things up and just give my own personal thoughts and opinions on these things when it comes to silver stacking. So of course, as usual, if you haven't done so already and you like what you hear, please do go ahead and subscribe. And also let me know in the comments if you've got anything to add to this, especially for silver stackers or silver stacking in general, with any practices or any keywords or advice that you think could help anybody stacking, be it veteran, pro, or just somebody just starting out right now. So, well, as we jump straight into the first one that I will be bringing up, I would say if you're silver stacking, you're definitely going to have to need discipline. Shout out to all the focus gang, the Ramonas when it comes to focusing. You're going to need discipline when it comes to stacking silver, because it's one of those things where you're going to have to be able to, put that structure into yourself and keep yourself in check when it comes to stacking silver. There's a lot that's been going against silver. It can become very frustrating, especially when you listen to every single pundit that comes out. So you're going to have to really structure yourself and put yourself under a strict regimen where you know what you're doing and you know where you're going, and you're not easily influenced from all of the outside forces. Of course, a lot of due diligence comes into play here. If you know what you're doing and you've done your checks, it just wasn't one click or one pundit you heard and you jumped head in all first, and outside of that, then be it so. If you're very impulsive, and I have been impulsive myself in the past, you may want to take longer or think a little harder before you dive straight into silver stacking, because silver stacking comes with a whole heap of problems that doesn't come with stacking the other metals. Closest companion is going to be gold, of course. So discipline is going to be the first thing I'd say all silver stackers definitely need when it comes to silver stacking. If you don't have it, get it. If you ain't got it, start implementing it in your life now, today. So coming on to the next thing I would say you need as a silver stacker, and that's going to be the ability to make sacrifices in life. I would say get your priorities in order. Just going off of the video today, Boris Johnson's just received a stone cold stunner from the Supreme Courts. This is the time of releasing this video. Thomas Cook, another massive corporation, has just gone under. And there's a lot going on in the world right now. I'd say just from what's currently happening with the high street damn near dead, it's a wasteland. Big corporations, big millionaires, billionaires that have these big companies getting undertaken and overtaken by the online and everybody, just a whole change of life. When the rug gets pulled, one thing I do know is it's going to be absolutely horrendous. It's going to be terrible. And if you don't have your priorities in check, you may be stacking silver, but I know some people that stack silver say they can't stack a certain amount. It's always going to fall back onto these types of individuals. But the useless things that they spend their cash on day-to-day life is shocking, to say best. So in the end of the day, when it's coming up to sacrifices, are you willing to give up something that you perceive to be valuable, whereas in general, in reality, it isn't? Whereas making an investment for your future, maybe your kids or your loved ones' future at a later date. So, taking action now to help for a better tomorrow, or tomorrow, for years to come, is going to take a sacrifice. And to make that happen, you need to have your priorities in check. So you need to figure out in your own life what's a priority and what isn't. Is it good times, happy times right now? Or is it, good, happy times at a later date? When I can't see, if it went boom now, everything you're spending on now and a lot of things that are keeping you happy now will be a lot cheaper and maybe even better later. So getting your priorities in check takes sacrifices. There's many areas where you got to make sacrifices, but I think a lot of silver stackers should be implementing that in their life today, making the sacrifices. If you ain't making the right sacrifices and maybe getting into this, some would say, dumping silver is the perfect sacrifice to do, but who knows, So getting on to another thing that you must have when it comes to silver stacking, you most definitely have, and that's going to be patience. Patience. When it comes to silver stacking, you get the old, are we there yet? phrase all the time. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Patience is all going to boil down to, do you have the ability to wait, especially when there's dangerous times ahead or dangerous times happening? A lot of people didn't. You know, I saw many come, and when the next best thing came along, cryptos, blockchain, they jumped ship and jumped bandwagon. They wasn't supposed to be here in the first place. They got here with somewhat of a misunderstanding, or it just didn't do what they wanted it to do within the time frame they wanted it to do. With a lot of investments, if you want to look at it like that, or savings plans, or an insurance, if it's a lifetime or life insurance, patience is going to play a massive role. And if you don't have that, specifically when silver stacking, because I would say easily silver stacking carries a lot of risks that, for instance, stacking gold doesn't carry. You know, the odds are already stacked against you. Many will tell you about the manipulation when it comes to stacking silver, and you're fighting a big, massive cabal that has deep pockets that can technically keep this going on and on and on and on forever. So patience is going to play a massive role. It's something a lot of people don't have, just because they don't. You know, there's nothing you can do about that. It's something that you can look at and at one point see your stack being in the green, see it tank, not know why it tanked, think it shouldn't tanked. You know, there's been big, massive pundits that were once pro silver that jumped ship. And so, you know, are you able to keep your head when you see those rolling? And it's something I believe a lot of people never had, but those people weren't supposed to be in the first place. So if you know you're going to be stacking silver and you know it's the one for you, you definitely need to work on your patience. It's something you're most definitely going to have and need moving forward, because if you don't have patience, you don't have a chance when it comes to stacking silver. You're gonna put in whenever you're going to put in, under the guise that it's going to be, I don't know, $500 an ounce anytime soon. You'll keep on living the life you're living when it comes in terms of sacrifices. Either you don't have the, you don't. You know, I'm not here to parent any man child, for instance. So sacrifices is somebody taking a look at their own life and realizing what's useless and what's not. You need to microanalyze your everyday, day-to-day life. And then, you know, if you don't have the patience, it's going to be the ultimate one that has you selling your stack at a massive loss and walking away an incredible Hulk stacker. You know, that's just going to leave you in a negative, bad place. Any type of investment, or as I was saying, or long-term play requires patience, regardless of what it is. If you don't have that, and, you know, sometimes a lot of the things I'm saying, you can't really self-title yourself. You can't really self-title yourself with these things. So somebody close to you may be able to tell you whether you have patience, you know, whether you're able to make sacrifices, and whether you're disciplined. So you may need to look at the closest person to you and ask them if you have these things. You know, if they say yes to all, then you're good money. You know, you've got no worries or issues when it comes to stacking silver, because you know you can weather the storm, and that's what ultimately boils down to. So patience is something you're definitely going to have and need when you're a silver stacker. So getting on to what I would say is the last, but could equally be most important, is going to be being level-headed. You know, are you able to stay calm and sensible in somewhat hard times? Do you get triggered when somebody says something bad about silver that you stack? Everyone knows, well, I definitely know that silver stackers can be very emotional. You know, it's one of those metals, you know, some people worship it to go as far as that. And it's constantly bashed. It's constantly going through hard times. It's become one of the metals where if somebody said something, I don't know, negative about rhodium or any of the platinum group metals, now it's you know, water for ducks back. You say something naughty about silver, and you know, some people can really go all out and just come flying out swinging. So you definitely, most definitely need to be level-headed when it comes to stacking silver. At the end of the day, there's been individuals, some would call them trolls, in the community out there before, and I've never understood them to the point where, you know, I'm not sitting down on YouTube watching fishing videos and then telling them how stupid they are for using the wrong type of hooks or something like that. If I'm not interested in something, I'm not going to be watching it. So you have, to me, they just come across or come off as burnt silver stackers in the end of the day. But then there's going to be people like myself who stack silver, who own silver, who have silver, but I'm going to be playing both sides. You know, I'm going to be playing devil's advocate. I'm going to be the contrarian every now and then and say what I want to say about the metal that I'm stacking, whether it is or it needs to be heard, or whether it's way too one-sided on the opposite side. I'm going to put another side out there. And if you're level-headed, you're able to absorb that, look at it, maybe give a level-headed response, or, you know, not be so triggered. But especially, most definitely, when it comes to silver stacking, that's something you most definitely need to be level-headed. Once again, look to the closest person to you if you have somebody like that in your life, and you could ask them if any of the things that I've mentioned. So I'm going to wrap this one up, guys, but I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions of things you think every silver stacker needs, whether it's some form of a practice or just advice that needs to be put out there associated when it comes to silver stacking. So the rundown: you're going to need to be disciplined when it comes to silver stacking, most definitely. You're going to have to make lots of sacrifices when it comes to silver stacking, or even metals in general. You know, for a well better life, sacrifices are always needed to move up in life, you know, to power up, level up. When it comes to silver stacking, you're most definitely going to have patience. If you don't have it in your life, you better start learning how to get it. And to top this one up, you need to be level-headed. You know, don't be so emo if something naughty is said about the AG stuff out here. So hey, I love it, guys. It'd be fantastic to hear your thoughts and opinions on this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll catch you guys in the rebound.